Halloween is one of Salty's favorite times of the year. He's known for his tall tales he loves to tell, and around Halloween time, he tells scary and spooky stories. Bill and Ben enjoy these stories the most. They always insist on staying the night at the docks when they bring their trains from the clay pits so they can listen to Salty tell them all night. Arthur also comes to the docks often, carrying loads of fish from the coastal village. Unlike the twins, Arthur doesn't stay at the docks. He likes to be back at his shed near the village to get a good head start for the next day. However, on this particular day, there was trouble. "One of your cylinders is loose, Arthur," said his driver. "It'll be an easy fix, but the repairman can't come out till tomorrow morning. It's too late now." "Oh, that's all right," said Arthur. "I'll just stay here tonight." Salty overheard this. "You can stay at the dockside sheds with me. There's always extra room for another engine." "Thank you, Salty," Arthur replied. "I'll take you up on that." "Of course, matey. The more the merrier." "Thanks again, Salty," Arthur said when he was settled in. "Of course, me hearty. You get as much rest as you need." "Will do," Arthur replied. He was about to doze off when suddenly the twins puffed up next to him. "Tell us another story, Salty," they pleaded. "Please." "All right. You know it doesn't take much to get a story out of me hearties." And Salty began his story, but this one was the spookiest yet. "It was a dark, gloomy night. I had just finished the last train for the morning. I was heading to this very here shed, but then I saw a misty engine, and then I realized it was a ghost." "Ooh!" cried the twins. "I asked him who he was. He said he was an old engine who fell in the ocean long ago. Since then, he had haunted the docks for years. It explained many strange things that happened in the night, such as hearing trucks bumping around when I was the only engine around. He had told me he had grown tired of the docks and wanted to explore. He journeyed out down the line towards the clay pits, and that was the last I saw of him. Be careful, you twins," finished Salty. "If any strange things happen at the clay pits at night, you'll know why." And he went off to help Porter shunt the flying kipper. Bill and Ben were chilled. "Maybe we shouldn't stay the night at the clay pits for a while," they whispered to each other. Of course, they're not the best whisperers. "You know," Arthur said, trying to make the twins feel better, "there's no such thing as ghosts. They're just make-believe stories." "How do you know that?" asked Bill. "Well, I can't disprove it, but I haven't seen any proof there is either." "So there could be, and we just don't know it," explained Ben. "Well, I think we can't ever stay there at night. The ghost might scare us." Eventually, Arthur gave up. Bill and Ben talked all night about the possibility of a ghost at the clay pits. It kept Arthur up, and he was exhausted. The repairman came to fix his cylinder, and he was ready to head back to the fishing village. "You look a little rough, matey," said Salty. "It happens to the best of us," replied Arthur as he left the docks. Later that evening, Bill and Ben had delivered the last of the clay to the docks for the day. They were getting ready to head to the shed, but Salty had bad news. "Sorry, hearties, but we have more trucks than usual tonight, and I had to use the extra sidings in the sheds. You'll have to head back to the clay pits for the night." Bill and Ben were adamant on not leaving the docks. "Well, we don't have to stay in the sheds. We could sleep here." "No way," called Cranky from above. "I can't have you two in the way when I'm loading the ships up." "Okay," said the twins reluctantly. "Sorry, mateys. Come back tomorrow." The twins arrived at the clay pits. The sun was setting quick, and their crews left for the night. All they had was each other. "What do we do if the ghost comes after us?" asked Ben. "We scream and hope someone hears us," replied Bill. Meanwhile, Arthur was at the docks with his load of fish. He had been tired all day, and he got to the docks later than usual. Salty saw that he was in no shape to head back at night. He knew the docks were crowded, but he was willing to try to free up some space for Arthur to stay for the night. "Why don't you stay here tonight? I can tell it's been a long day for you." "No, thank you," replied Arthur. "I have to get back to make up for time lost today." And he puffed away with his empty vans. "Well, be careful out there, matey," Salty called. It was a dark night. On top of being exhausted, he could hardly see the tracks ahead of him. Since he usually didn't come through this late, the signalman wasn't expecting Arthur, so the points were still set to the clay pits instead of the fishing village. Arthur was set onto the wrong line. "Oh no," said the signalman. He tried blowing his whistle to get Arthur's attention, but he was already too far down the line. It had been a while, and Bill and Ben started to feel better. Maybe there is no ghost after all, they thought. Well, I'm going to try and get some shut-eye. Then it happened. Arthur puffed into the clay pit, still unaware of where he was. "Wait," said Bill to Ben. "Do you hear that puffing noise?" "Oh no!" Arthur kept going until he bumped into some trucks in front of him. The trucks rolled past the twins. "It's the ghost," they whispered. "He's banging the trucks now." "Ouch! Who put all these trucks there?" thought Arthur. "Hello?" he called. "Who's there?" "Don't answer," whispered Ben. "It's a trap." Arthur puffed forward. The twins held their breath. Just as Arthur was in view, the lights turned on. "Arthur? What are you doing here?" "I don't know, honestly. I was supposed to head back to the fishing village." The clay pits manager, who had turned on the lights, came out of his office. "I heard a bunch of ruckus," he said. "What's going on?" "I'm sorry, sir. I must have been sent down the wrong line." "Oh, no problem. I'll call the signalman and tell him you'll be on your way back." "Why didn't you answer when I asked if anyone was here?" asked Arthur. "Well," the twins replied, "we didn't know who you were." "Well, you didn't think I was a ghost, did you?" Bill and Ben didn't say anything. Arthur chuckled a bit. "I told you there was no such thing as ghost. There's always an explanation for when something unusual happens." "Well, I guess there is," said Ben. The manager came back out. "All right, I called the signalman. You're good to go." "Stories are fun to tell and listen to," said Arthur as he left, "but don't get too scared of them." "Maybe he's right," the twins said to themselves. The next day at the docks, they told Salty all about the eventful night before. It turned out to be Arthur the whole time. "I guess there's no ghosts at the clay pits after all." "Did I say clay pits?" asked Salty. "The fishing village is that way too, you know. He might have gone that way instead." Bill and Ben were speechless. "You better be careful, Arthur. You know, just in case." "You like having fun with those two, don't you?" said Arthur to Salty. "Well, someone has to, matey," Arthur replied. Arthur, after all that, had to agree.